This is Andrea with the Traveling Sunshine Seniors channel. Hey, I just wanted to share with you about a trip we recently took to Yellowstone, and it also included Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and the Grand Tetons National Park. It was amazing, incredible, huge experience. And we actually flew into Jackson Hole. The airport was the most unusual and gorgeous airport I've ever visited. It's very small, and it just kind of gives you a big hug when you walk in with the comfortable recliner seats, fireplace, all the glass windows that just overlook the mountains and the just unbelievable beauty. But anyway, the experience, your first time getting off the plane in Jackson Hole Airport, it's like you get off the plane, your head swivels, and all you see are these huge mountains that just engulf you. And at the top, they're snow covered. So beautiful. And it really just kind of, it takes your breath away. It's so beautiful. And that aha moment kind of reminds me of going to the Grand Canyon. When you look out over the Grand Canyon for the first time, that is the way I felt when I got off of the airplane in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. It was a moment I'll never forget in my life. So that was my excitement for Jackson Hole Airport. Can you only imagine how excited I was going outside of there to see what we saw the next several days? Wow. So the first few nights we stayed in Jackson Hole. We stayed at a lovely hotel on the square, and I would recommend the hotel. It was really good. It's clean, and it's location. And it's old, it's built, I would guess, in the early 1900s or so. And it's got a lot of charm, and it's very clean. And I'll put the link to the description of the hotel we stayed at and some of the fantastic restaurants and other things that we did to kind of help you if you want to check those out when making your travel plans. Now, on the square in Jackson Hole, you really don't need a car. You just park, we just parked our car at the hotel, and everything we did in Jackson Hole, we walked. There's so many great restaurants, a lot of independent places, local places, it's kind of the things that we like to try out. And we ate breakfast more than one morning at a place called the Bunnery. They make so many fresh, handmade croissants, pastries, pies, cakes. I think I sampled about all of what they make. A huge pastry case, you see all that. And then, of course, they have, traditional bacon, eggs, pancakes, wraps, things like that, too. That's a great restaurant. And then another restaurant, there on the square, it reminded me of an old drugstore. And they had great burgers, salads, vegetarian options. But one of my favorite things is dessert. They had homemade ice cream, and they made milkshakes with that, sundaes and everything. Another great place. And then there was a cute place, I think it was called like the Three Little Pigs, and it was a Mexican place, and it was so good. The food was really good, but inside the artwork was so cute. All these little pigs, dressed up in the just cute. It's just one to check out. Okay, enough of the restaurants. Let's talk about what we did in Jackson Hole. One of the things we did in Jackson Hole was we went to a hot springs. I'd never done that before. And basically what it is, we paid like $20, and it was an hour. And they have changing rooms, so we took our bathing suit and changed into that. And then it looks like just a big swimming pool, except the water is from the hot springs. And It was so warm. It felt so good. It's kind of like, if you imagine a cold day outside and you're inside with a warm blanket hugging you up. That's kind of what the hot springs felt like. It was just great. And while you're sitting there all warm and toasty, you're looking up all around you. And again, it's these beautiful mountains, hills, and just snow-capped while you're sitting there in Jackson Hole. I mean, it's just, it takes your breath away again. So that's definitely worth the $20 in my opinion. Other things they have there in Jackson Hole, in the winter months, they have a big ski lodge, and winter skiing is a big thing there. And if you do choose for that option, I would highly suggest they have a elk sleigh ride through the elk refuge. I mean, that just sounds like a moment that I need in my life. Actually, I put that down on my calendar for another bucket list item back to go there. So anyway, and then in Jackson Hole, there's, the shops there are so unique and so artistic. There's lots of artwork there that you can buy from locals, and it's beautiful. A lot of nature artwork. There's also a lot of the Native Americans. They have shops there, and they make the jewelry. I saw some beautiful turquoise earrings and bracelets that I would like to have. So you can get art, jewelry. Of course, there's t-shirt shops like this too, but there's so much more. It's like an artisan square of shops that you would enjoy looking at. I did. And then another fun thing while you're there on the square in Jackson Hole is I think it's the Millionaire Cowboy Bar or something like that. And the bar stools are actually saddles from horses, so that's kind of fun. And they had a couple of pool tables in there, so you could shoot pool and shoot the breeze there too. That was fun. So anyway, just a few miles down the road is the Grand Teton National Park. Again, another wow. The mountains, the snow caps, and then the Snake River going through there. That river is so beautiful. Just so clean and just beautiful. Now, and if you like white water rafting or canoeing, boat rides, like a daytime lunch cruise boat ride, all of those kinds of things are available there to do in the Grand Tetons. And lots of small hikes that you can do. I'm sure there's some long ones, but Tim and I prefer like a mile at the most hikes. But we saw a lot of people hiking, and we did something that again I recommend that you do if you go. Is we booked a sunrise tour. And the company was fantastic. Again, I'll post it in the links. And they picked us up at 5 a.m. and we were with them for 4 hours. And, the benefit of that was we got to see all the animals when they were waking up. And, one of the first things we saw that morning was a moose. And I had never seen a moose. And it was so close to us. It was eating on the side of the road, and it was eating berries and greenery. And, he was just minding his own business, having his breakfast, not a care in the world. It was such a beautiful, picturesque of that moose. And we were actually parked on the side of the road, on the opposite side of the road, and we got out of our cars. He had his space. We did not encroach in his space. But we were able to just stand there and look across the road at his beauty. And you could tell he was used to tourists because he wasn't afraid or skittish or anything. And all the people, they respected his boundaries too, which was nice. And then, if we on that sunrise tour, we went down the road a little ways, and we saw in a big river moose taking their morning showers. There was a mama and a baby there taking their bath. Just so sweet. Just the mama being so motherly and just sweet to the little baby. And just a few yards off, there was a big tree, and at the top of the tree, we saw some eagles, and they were just hanging out, chilling in the morning. Just unbelievable. And then, several birds. We saw like a bluebird that's local to there. Just so beautiful. Then we drove on down a little further, and we saw several elk. And again, they were just eating the breakfast, hanging out, on the side of the road. It was just amazing. I highly recommend one of those tours, because these folks know where to go to see the animals. Like if you're driving around by yourself, we may not always know the places, but that gives you a great foot in the door. And then there's some really good places to eat there in the Grand Tetons. And again, I'll link some restaurants there. And then the next day we drove on over, it's not far. You could do all three of those cities, together, in about, 4 days. And so the next day we drove into Yellowstone. Now in Yellowstone, we had this app that was free. And the gentleman on the app tells you where you're driving, look to the right and you'll see, you're likely to see bison there. Then look on down to the left and you might spot a grizzly bear. And then he'll give you some suggestions to pull over for hikes or pull over to a restaurant. And it's just a great traveling app through Yellowstone. And I highly recommend that. As we were driving that morning in Yellowstone, we saw a grizzly bear. And, just again in a big field by himself eating breakfast, And, you could get out of the car because, he was several feet away. But you could see him, plain as day. And then on down the drive, we saw a black bear. So I've never seen a black bear and a grizzly bear on the same vacation. So that was just really neat and, just a few hundred yards away from each other. We also saw, our car came to a complete stop because there was a traffic jam. And the traffic jam was not due to other drivers. It was due to a 2,200-pound buffalo crossing the road, bison crossing the road. He was a big boy, and he was cute too. And he was just lollygagging, taking his time on a morning stroll. He didn't care that there was, 20 cars backed up on each side of the road to let him cross. And I admit, I did not care that I had to sit there for 5 or 10 minutes to let the guy cross, because he was a beauty and he was a big boy. We heard that the average size is about 2,200 pounds of bison. As we strolled on down in the car a little further, we saw a big open field, and it had probably 30 bison and babies. The little babies were so cute. They were just all cuddled up, next to their parents. Just really sweet. And you could get out of your car there. It was, several yards away. So that was fun seeing that. I mean, I could have just stood there, for an hour and watched these guys just doing their thing, in their comfort of their own security of nature, in their own environment, just being a mom and dad and a baby, so cute. As we traveled on down, we saw a coyote, and he was so close to the side of the road. If I would have rolled my window down, I could have touched him. Obviously, I did not do that. But he was, they say coyotes are, in the dog family. And he reminded me of a dog because he was just waking up and he was stretching his paws, putting them down in the ground. And his cute little booty was up in the air, just stretching. And then after he did that, he just laid back down and put his head, on his little paws and just went back to sleep. Where can you see that in real life? This was just incredible for me. And also another animal that we saw not far from there was a wolf. And this first time for me seeing one, and wow, was it a beauty. Oh, the colors, so, I don't know if graceful is the word, but so confident in his walk, down in a big field, just walking around, he was by himself. So eventually we ended up at Old Faithful, the inn, and we spent the night there. Make reservations months in advance. But the Old Faithful Inn was beautiful. It was built in the early 1900s. So much character. And even in the rooms, there was so much character in the rooms. The tile in the bathroom, just so much character in there. It's hard for me to describe, but it's like taking a step back in time, decades and decades ago. But, even though the inn is old, it's very clean. They were doing, fresh painting when we were there. They take pride in that inn because it looks really nice. And the people are so friendly and so welcoming. And, they want to help, ask questions. They were so happy to answer our questions. Another perk about staying at that hotel is they have a lovely restaurant. It's good food. We ate there for dinner, and they had steak, seafood, of course chicken and salads and vegetarian options, but it was a nice menu. It was really good. And we also noticed that they had breakfast and lunch menus as well. There's all kinds of rocking chairs inside and outside of the Old Faithful Inn. So that was nice because, when we were there and watching Old Faithful, explode and all of that was just so captivating, and it made your heart feel just so happy seeing that. Just wonder, it's just magical. And so everybody that's sitting around in the rocking chairs, they're all on vacation. They're all happy to be in Yellowstone. They're thrilled seeing Old Faithful. I remember my grandmother talking about that when she was young, going there in the 20s and the 30s, 1920s and 1930s, etc. How much she loved it and how, it just touched her heart. And I got to experience that. And so many other people sitting around us, were kind of having the same moments. And so everybody wanted to share. Everybody shared stories. Hey, I took this trail hiking today. Or, hey, have you tried this restaurant here? Or have you seen these hot springs here? It was just like a community of folks. So that was a fun experience, just talking to all the folks around. And then, we took a few hiking trails, again, like a mile or two long. And I also encourage you there, the folks that are working in the state parks, they're so knowledgeable and friendly. And, as I was sitting there just listening to some of them, you can tell that they love the park, and they're very respectful of the park and the animals, and they want to share what they know. And I was listening to this one park guy talking to other people, and I heard him, and I was like, oh my gosh, he sounds just like me. And so I went over to him and I said, where are you from? And he said, I'm from Texas. And I said, I'm from Tennessee. So we kind of had a little bonding moment because it's nice to be somewhere like that and you hear somebody that talks like you. And I found out, he was from Texas and he had been working there in Yellowstone for, I think this was his second year working there. So that was kind of fun too. But we saw people from other countries, of course, other states. And we even saw some people that are from Nashville, just like us that, we didn't know. So anyway, it's just a great group of people that you'll find in Yellowstone, the Grand Tetons, Jackson Hole, traveling just like us, just like you, and lots of information to share. So if you've been thinking, about Yellowstone and is it right for you or your family, if you love big animals, go. If you love mountains, snow caps, big wide open green spaces, just nature in general, go. So I appreciate you watching my channel, and if you would hit like and subscribe, that would do me a favor as well. I'm just starting my channel, so if you could spread the word, I'd appreciate it. And until next time, I hope you have fun traveling, sunshine seniors. Off for now to my next adventure.